Griff was a star player, in the state of Virginia, and I think he was Virginia State Player of the Year at Norfolk Academy. And so the staff at Hampton Sydney recruited us, along with some others. And he was a great student, econ major as well. One of the leaders on campus for sure.
He had done high school coaching in law school. He had been an assistant coach at Hampton Sydney for 1 year after law school. When I met Griff, he was practicing law at an international firm in Houston, and they had offices all over the world. We wanted to have an abroad experience. So when his law firm gave us the opportunity to move to London, we jumped at it and decided that that would be a fun adventure. So having been married 2 years, we moved to London. Griff was very successful at his firm, made partner. And during that time, he sort of stepped away from coaching. So when we moved to London for 5 years, sort of took a hiatus. And I think that's when he realized how much he missed it. And so we came back to Houston thinking, what sort of next? He was kind of itching to do something different. And during that next year, it was sort of a year of discernment, trying to figure out, was it a job change? Was it something having to do with coaching? And at that time, we decided to move into the inner city of Houston and be closer to the community center where Griff had previously coached middle school and high school boys, sort of on the side. And during that time, he started up his Hoops, which was a basketball program at that community center called the Forge for Families. And it integrated sort of after school academic work with the basketball, with a spiritual component, having a daily devotional, and a hot meal for the boys. And because we lived so close to the Forge, also the guys could come over to our house all the time, and often did. They would come over, I would sometimes feed them snacks, do after school stuff with them, and then they would go to basketball practice. And so that was a time of really embedding ourselves within that community and with those players. He did still have this day job at the law firm, and eventually decided to move into the business side of that by joining an oil and gas company doing private equity. And so he was working in that field still, the corporate world, but his heart was really in the coaching and the guys.
When I first noticed that, he was, considering or taking or feeling called, probably is the better way to describe it, feeling called back to the game, at least the collegiate game, was when I was first coaching at Lenoir-Rhyne University. And so Griff was never one, because he was so busy, with his own job. He was never one to necessarily follow every one of my games, and call me after games and, hey, man, I can't, like, that was a tough loss the other night, or great win. He wasn't one of those guys where it was like, following every single, moment during a season. But that particular year, my first year as a head coach at Lenoir-Rhyne, I noticed that he was watching our games online. And Division II, we don't have any games on TV. It's all online stuff and streamed and all that. And we had a historic season and a lot of fun with that particular team. And he was definitely immersed in it from afar. I don't even think he ever attended a game, but he followed that team, in a big way, and would call me after games and stuff. And so then we began to talk. I was like, I kind of noticed something, Griff. Like, you've never really done this over the course of our friendship. Like, what's going on? Like, you're watching. I know you care about me and the team and all that, but it takes a lot of time to watch every game. And he said, well, I've been praying a lot about this, and I feel like I've been called to get back into coaching. And I certainly love what I do, but I'm feeling this pull, to get back in.
He said to me, I think I'm called to coaching, and I don't really know what that means. And I said, well, when you think of basketball coaching, what's the first thing that pops into your head? And he said, well, college coaching. And I naively said, well, why don't we just do that? And he said, well, honey, you don't just do that. You can't just get a job in college athletics. Most people start when they're really young, and they do grunt work, and they have to climb the ladder. And, I'm 40, 41, and you can't just get a job in college coaching. And I said, well, I think if we're going to make a move, let's try. Call the people talk to your friends who are still in coaching. Let's just see. Brian Odom was one of those calls. And during that phone call, Ryan told Griff, I've been offered a job at UMBC, the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. And it had just happened like the day before. And he said, I don't have a coaching spot, but I'll hire you to come be on my staff in a heartbeat, and we'll find something for you to do. Would you and Julie consider moving to Baltimore?
It was a no-brainer for me. Griff, number one, as a friend, I know his character, I know his integrity. I needed someone, in my first year at the Division I level to help me organize and get things situated. He's certainly done that his whole career in business and in law. He understands how to connect with people. I felt like, he would be really beneficial, with the staff and helping us put it together and put the team together. And, it turned out that way. He was a vital part of us flipping that program at UMBC and turning it around in a positive direction.
I wanted to coach, but my primary role was more chief of staff and administrative. The NCAA had limitations and restrictions about how much somebody in my role could actually coach. And so while I was intimately involved in all of the basketball, in the office and the discussions and the strategy and the film prep and the scout and all that, I wasn't able to be on the court or recruit and do the things that felt like what college coaches should do. And so that was a real challenge for me. And for 2 years, I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Am I just going to be booking flights and hotels and getting meals? And it's kind of rough. And is this what I want to do? A mentor who went to church with us, and he came and he said, the one constant in the world is change. And so you need to be prepared when your opportunity comes, and you never know when it's going to come. And that was probably January, and I really listened to him. And I said, okay, I'm going to act like I'm the head coach. And I shifted my mindset, I shifted my attitude, and it wasn't peaches and cream every day, but it was better. About 4 or 5, 6 weeks later, got a call from Longwood about the head coaching position.
The people who I trusted in the industry that knew him spoke highly of him. So for me, there was evidence that he had immersed himself in scholastic basketball, even beyond those 2 years, to kind of build that reputation in the Houston network as well as in the Virginia network.
I think Longwood is a very special university. I think the nurturing environment and atmosphere, I think there is, from the administration to the faculty to the coaches, I think there is a true investment in students. And for me and Julie, that's something that we really want to do, is help to develop and transform lives in a positive manner. Our whole mission statement is to transform lives while competing for championships, and develop the young men in our program, and also to be an excellent program that brings honor and integrity and positive light towards the university and this community.